little bit right here. Now, what this is if you are registering for your course, if you've completed step 1, you've become admitted to Weber State University, you are now ready to move on to step 2. If you did college credit in last year, you are also at step 2 because you need to reset your password. Here's the really sticky part on those passwords. They're 16 characters long. It has to have letters and numbers and a special character like a $sign or a pound sign or an asterisk or percentage, something like that. So 16 characters. You need to write that down. Your password expires every 3 months at Weber State, and you need the old one to change it to a new one. Now, for those that were with the school last year and you've forgotten that, I'll show you how to get to where you can recover and redo your password here in just a moment, okay? Once you get through step 2, that's where you get your Weber State student number and your login ID. Then you move to step 3. Step 3 is where you are going to register for the college course and pay your $5 per credit tuition. Okay, let me get my chat room back up here. I just mentioned that if you did not get signed up with Weber State last Friday, they've extended the deadline. You can still do that until this Friday. They gave you an extra week. So you can do step 1 still, but you need to do that before Friday. So they give you an extension. So that's for everybody. All right, now for those you're doing to step 3, what you see on the screen is your course information. This is also sent out in an email, and it's also in the announcements for each course. If you're doing Architecture 1, that's the top one right here, and I'm not sure why this is the old version, but your course is BDC 1040. If for some reason you're having a hard time finding it by its name, you can do a CRN search, that's course registration number, and you can type in 25528, and that will take you right to the course. Okay, regardless of what school you put down, where we have that little issue. Again, when you're doing step 1, use your home school, and then they'll link you all together as we get in there, okay? So Architecture 2, that's this next one down. That is BDC 1350. It is 25532. And then it gets a little crazy for Architecture 3. Architecture 3 moves into a little bit more advanced type course. Arc 3 is CMT 1100. Okay, so if you'll write this information down in the event that you have a hard time finding it through your email or in your announcements, that would be a good idea. Again, if you're Architecture 1, it's BDC 1040. If you are Architecture 2, that's BDC 1350. And these are the CRN numbers. So that is how the computer finds the course. Architecture 1, 25528. Architecture 2, 25532. And Architecture 3, 25728. Any questions on that? And you can either use the chat room or you can individually undo your mics, but let's do it one at a time and try and avoid going deaf today. Still on that. If for some reason you cannot find the course, if you will send me your Weber number, okay? And let's see if I can do something fancy. If you cannot find the course, send me an email, your student number, your Weber number, and I will get it taken care of for you, okay? Again, only do that if you weren't able to find the course, okay? So if you need to, you can send me the Weber number. That's step 2. I can't do anything without that Weber number. And it's a long one, so you have to send me that, and then I can get you connected to the right course, okay? That should help, okay. What I have on the screen here is an AutoCAD file. This is primarily for those taking Architecture 3. This is the commercial class. Okay. And this is kind of the level in which we're going to go to with everything. But what we're looking at here is
There we go.
oh, yay, sounds around. Cool. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it.
You need more than you thought. You figured it out.
Well, I've seen that many.
All right, we'll have to, that would be good for tomorrow. Tomorrow will be much easier now.
Yeah.
Much easier. Okay, in Canvas, to turn in your floor plan, just submit a screenshot. That's all I need, just to make sure you're working on it. It's just a check-in, okay? So if you're trying to submit floor plans, if you're online only and I haven't seen you, then go ahead and just submit a screenshot and I'll get that grade fixed. All right, this is a cross-section of the Printech warehouse. It's one of the options for the Architecture 3 students. This is a unique building, and if this is one of the projects you're working on, you need to know a little bit how to find information out about it. So this section is going to tell us what the wall is made of. So if I zoom up over to this portion, we find that this is a 5.5-inch thick concrete tilt-up panel. That means this is one solid concrete wall. It has rebar in it to keep it strong. And when they make these, they pour the floor first, then they oil the floor. They literally put down, usually it's almost like a vegetable oil. Then they will pour the wall on top of the floor. When that is set, they tip it up into place, and it's called a tilt-up concrete panel. Okay, so we need to make a wall for this to do your Revit project with. There's not one for you. So today we're going to learn how to make custom walls, and that will apply to commercial and to residential alike. One of the things to do is, question? Okay, when you're doing these commercial drawings, you guys are going to want to go through and at least open each file and get a feel for what you're looking at, because there's different information on each one. This is the floor plan for that building, and there's information here such as how are we going to deal with the windows. So we've got an insulated window, there's a concrete panel, and then we're going to what's called fur out the wall. Now, for residential students, we do this in basements. When we do a basement wall, it's pretty much the same type process, except the basement wall is made in a form or a mold to get the wall, and then we'll build a wood wall in front of it so you can hang things and put insulation in there. But you need to be very familiar with these commercial plans, as commercial students especially, on what's going on there. We do need to make sure that we are sealing it. So we've got a synthetic marble window sill, and then we're going to caulk all around that. And that helps keep mildew out of the building. It also helps keep air from flowing in the wrong places. But when you look at your plan, you've gone through and you've stripped this down, but there's information on the original. That's why I had you keep an original and a stripped down version. So I can go to this detail here, and that's when we looked at. This is the building section. So it tells you what that wall is made of, so I can reproduce it. Because all you're doing is doing an interior remodel. Likewise, you need to know what's going on with this wall. This is the detail A4 on sheet A1. Well, we're on sheet A1 right now. That's architectural sheet 1. So detail 4 is over here. And here's information about what makes up that wall. We've got 5/8 chipboard, 2x4 stud. We've got some top plates and a ledger board. You need to be familiar with these if you're doing the commercial projects. Okay? All right, now let's go have some real fun. Any questions from the commercial students for Architecture 3? Let's see if there's any. There's only one in this class, and I don't know where they're at. So, all right, moving on then. We're going into Revit, and this is where we left off last time. Okay, so what we did, to remind you all, is we went around and did all of our exterior walls, right? Everybody's with me on that one? And if you want to use your emotion cons at the bottom of your screen, there is an icon there that says, oh, what does it say now? I can't remember what it says. anyway, you can put up little emoticons if you're good and you want to kind of participate that way. That's fine. What we did now, if I zoom up on this and I get really close, I can see elements and you probably can't. So right here's my brick. Why not, Ariana? Nope, we didn't get to this part. We put the floor plan in, didn't we? Yeah. Okay, hang on. Cool. So watch how quick this is gonna be. This will be fun. This is my favorite part. Undo all my work and redo it. No worries here. Okay, we can do this. We're smart. We're powerful. So let me just clean this up. I thought we got this far. I went and practiced ahead of time. So this be where you guys are at then. Okay, so we're gonna start over. So we bring our AutoCAD file in and we lock it in place. It's all one element. And it's pinned in between our elevation lines. And then we did a little building on the side, didn't we? Okay, so if you have that little building on the side, you can go ahead and delete that. Just window it and then delete it out. And we're gonna focus here on our house. Okay, so the first thing you have to do as a designer, other than the commercial students who are rebuilding the wall in 3D as it is in the 2D drawings, if you're building a house, you need to decide what to make it out of. And with the current building code, we are now looking at an R24. That's a resistance to heat change in our insulation for our walls. When I started this, we were doing an R13 back in the late 80s. That was sufficient enough. We're now up to an R24 for insulation value. In some areas of the country, it's an R32 in the walls. That's really, really hard to do. It's really hard to do. Insulation, it gets its power based on the thickness of the material, but more importantly on how much air it can trap. And so if you look at like pink fiberglass, it's in a hold air between those fibers, and that's what gives it the value. The fiberglass itself is nothing. It just traps air. If we did it out of feathers, we could do that, but they collapse and compress. We could use shredded newspaper, same problem, it compresses. So we're getting down to we have just a few materials that really work well for walls to get this R value. One is polypropylene, which is a spray-on expanded foam. The other one is styrofoam, both of which have their issues. They're both out of petroleum products or oil products. So if the house burns, the smoke becomes toxic. So it's kind of a trade-off, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and build some walls. First thing we're gonna do is go to the architecture tab and we're gonna click on the wall tool. And I'm gonna cancel that. And now once we get that, it's gonna bring up a preliminary wall. It will probably be different for each of you, depending on what you've been doing in your plan. And so, yeah, so that little small practice one we can go ahead and get rid of. We're gonna trace off our exterior walls and we're gonna create some. So let's open up and see what's in your file that you can choose from. And I've tried to identify them as being exterior or interior in your template. And that means they'll be alphabetically listed. So you probably have a brick on a wood stud. You probably have a wood shingle on a wood stud. That is usually in the area of the gable. So in that area there above the brick, it's hard to cut brick. That triangle, we talked about that last time. And so we'll put shingles there or siding. Here's wood shingles on wood studding stud, wood siding on a wood stud. We don't have a stucco. So I need to have an idea, is anyone doing stucco for your house? If you'll let me know if we need to make one of those. Most of your parents don't like it, so you don't like it. Not sure. Okay, Victor and Sam, you're gonna use stucco? No, that's a different text. Okay, so I have one doing stucco. Okay, here goes everything. All right, let's build a stucco wall. And since this file is going to become your template file, we're all going to make a stucco wall. Yay. Okay. And including commercial. You can use stucco on the exterior of concrete block or on a concrete wall. And you can use that to modify to create your exterior finishes. Most of Las Vegas is stucco. It's very little stone and concrete in Vegas. It's almost all stucco, if you've been there. All right, so we're gonna start with a wall, and we need a wall to build onto. So the wall I'm gonna start with is going to be the wood siding on a wood stud, mainly because it's pretty basic, and I can deviate and change that. So let's just go ahead and start that wall, but we're not gonna draw the wall. We're just gonna have that in our properties box for us to start with, okay? So everybody get there. I've got to figure out how to put this so I can see the bottom of my chat window and not miss things. Okay, that's a little tricky. All right. Now, before I can draw, I need to, again, make it a stucco wall. So we're going to hit Edit Type. Right below the name, it says Edit Type. And we're going to get this big old section window. I'm going to just minimize that down or stretch it in just a little bit. You can hit a preview button down here in the bottom left corner, and that'll show you what the composite of the wall is. Composite meaning things put together. So the top of the screen is the outside, the bottom is the inside. So this is the gray one right here. That is our gypsum board. Then we have our wood stud. Then we have our sheathing or plywood wrap that goes around the building. And then in this case, our siding. Okay, so hopefully you guys are able to see things a little better. If on your screens you have half of it Zoom and half of it your Revit software, you should be able to see things a little better than just up on the large televisions. I felt that was a better approach, and so hopefully that's working for you. And if that is a better solution, if you'll let me know, I'd appreciate that. And then otherwise, I'll keep thinking of different ways to do this. But hopefully you can see things a little easier when it's right in front of your face and not 20 feet away on a TV screen. Okay, see nothing, we'll move forward. Okay. Rand, will you just see if that's working for them? Because I need to know if I need to change resolution a little bit. Just a quick poll, just kind of ask them if they're able to see things better. The properties on the wall won't show up on my screen.
Everybody got it just like it's up on the TV.
Okay, so Liam is not able to get the properties. Are you missing the entire properties window, Liam? It's not there at all? Ariana, the name of the floor plan is whatever you named it. I don't know what you named your floor plan. Liam, will you turn your mic on just a minute so I can drill you down? Are you not able to see the properties box at all?
No, I'm not.
Okay, go ahead and turn that off, buddy, and we'll fix it. Thanks. All right, I'm gonna close out of my box here for just a minute. I'm gonna come right back here so everybody can just kind of watch what I'm about to do. Liam's gonna do it. So I'm just gonna cancel out of this box for just a minute. What's happened to Liam is going to happen to all of you at some point. And some of you will happen to many, many times. What's happened is this property box, there's a property box and a browser. And you can turn them off if you hit this X by accident. And it usually happens when you're closing your file. You just start clicking X's and you keep going. So here's the fix. You ready, my friend? You're going to go to View. So in the View tab, all the way at the far right side is User Interface. When you open up the user interface, make sure you have Project Browser and Properties turned on. And that should bring it right back for you. And hopefully that worked. If that worked, shake your head up and down like you're happy. That's kind of weird, up and down. Okay, cool. All right, so Liam's back on board. We have our wall and we hit edit type. And we're all back on speed. Not real speed, just on, you know, adrenaline. Not that stuff on the corner of 17th and State. Oh. Okay, so I know what this wall is made of. Now, when we go into this aspect and we are going to modify a component, whether it's a table or a wall or a door, we always do duplicate. We never change something without leaving the original behind. So click on duplicate, and it's going to ask you to give it a new name. Well, it's not going to be wood side anymore. This is going to become a stucco, and stucco is S-T-U-C-C-O, stucco on wood stud. And I'm going to change that to, because that means it's a duplicate, to X6. So it's 2x6 stud. So we're going to change quite a bit on this wall. So it's going to be a 2x6 stud with stucco. Okay, so if you'll make that change, everything okay there, Liam? Good deal. Good deal. Okay, if your neighbors are having a struggle, please help them so we don't get anybody lost behind, because if you get voted off the island, there's no way to save you. There is no redemption island. There is no getting back out of jail for free cards. All righty. I'm not seeing any questions flying up. Okay. Now, as we hit OK, then everything's kind of changed. We should see the name on our exterior door, or a wall here, sorry. And again, we're keeping exterior so we can find them easier. Now, the next thing we're going to do is going to go over here to the structure portion in our parameters. And we can do some things down here. There's quite a few things down there. There's a texture to it. Most of this deals with the 3D rendering aspect of our wall. And we'll mess with that later. But right now, I want you to click on structure and edit. I'm going to edit the structure. Bye, Liam. All right. Now, here again, we need to keep track of where we are. Top is exterior, bottom is interior. And the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to change this finish to a substrate, and we're going to add a finish. So let's kind of think about how the best way to do that. If I'm going to change a finish to a substrate, I'm better off to add a substrate. Now, you're going to ask, well, what's a substrate? So a structure is the lumber. That's what's the strength of the wall. And we already have that set to 2x6. So we're good to go there. 5.5 inches tells me it's a 2x6 stud wall. That means the distance across is 5.5 inches. But a substrate is like plywood, or it could be something like, trying to think, like a ledger board. It might be a seal plate, something that's just a support for strength, not really adding to strength, but supporting the strength of the wall. So we're going to come down here underneath the chart, and we're going to insert something new. So go ahead and click on insert once, and it's going to put it usually at the top of the screen, which is fine, but I need this to move down one. So this black bar, I need to move it down below the finish, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to just, let's see, is that what I want to do? Yeah, we're going to move that down. And this substrate, we're going to change its category. So it says by category, I mean, we have to define that. If we leave it blank, the program, Revit, will treat that as if it's error, and it won't show up in any of our renderings. So we want to click on that, and then we get 3 little dots. Those are called ellipse dots, if you remember from your English classes. We click on those, it means more to come. And it's going to bring up another dialog window. And I'm having a little bit of problems with my library today, but that's okay. What I'm going to look for in here is rigid insulation. Now I can go through and I can start typing that and see if it comes up. And I'm not seeing anything showing up there. It's still searching. Maybe because Zoom is taking a lot of my RAM right now. And so if I'm not seeing what I want, then I'm going to kind of search for it. And I'm just going to kind of go through here and see if I can find it. If there's one in here already, you should be able to find rigid insulation in your libraries. insulation right here. So this one's called insulation CHD polystyrene. That is rigid insulation. It's the same stuff that makes up your styrofoam cups, and it works really, really well. And it's what we put most stucco onto because we have to increase our insulation value. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this one right here. So if you'll find insulation CHD polystyrene, I know that's in all of your templates until you can add more to your libraries. So when I select that, I'm not going to change anything else. I'm just going to select it. I hit OK. And what the heck did that just go to 2x6 stud for? Sorry, I picked the wrong one. Don't know why that did that. There it goes. Okay, so now it should say insulation in here. So this is the foam, and we'll do some stuff a little bit later in the semester. We'll look at these different materials more in depth, where I can pass around samples and so forth. So the thickness of this can be anywhere from 1/8 of an inch to 6 inches thick. Now you can go on the commercial students who are doing Architectural 3, you can take those 6-inch layers and you can glue them together and make it as thick as you want. So you can sculpt them, you can do a lot with them. You can sculpt that foam into lots of different things. And I might have us do a lab in the shop where we make a stucco monument. So for this, I'm gonna go ahead and make it a 2-inch thick stucco on there. So just 2 inches, and let's make this change just a little bit. And then my finish, I'm gonna change it from siding. I'm gonna change that finish now. So we got some insulation at 2 inches, and now we're gonna change the siding. We're gonna change that to paint. And paint's really not the right word for it. It's actually a stucco. Let me see if I put stucco in here for you. It'll be under masonry, M's. So just find our M's. And I don't think I gave you a stucco. I think I was gonna have you create that a little bit later. So what we're going to do then, let's see if we got paint. There should be paint in there. PA. Yeah, paints and coatings. So if you find paints and coatings or just paint would be fine. Now, when you select this, there is a color code there. Don't worry about that right now. We will change those later. You're going to individualize those color codes to the color you want. And I'm going to give you access to the National Color Standards, which gives you all the codes for all the paint colors that are currently available on the market. And we'll have a great big long talk about that. So it's going to be white for right now, okay? That's the default. So just go ahead and hit OK once you find paints and coatings and hit OK. Now the thickness of this, we're gonna drop that down to 1/8 of an inch. Now you would never have 1/8 of an inch thick paint. Okay, slow down a little. Let's see, super confused, right? Okay, let's slow it down just a little bit. Where did I lose you, Sam? You're in the classroom, right? And Ariana, are you at home or are you in the classroom? Okay, I've done a lot of steps, so I'm trying to figure out which step. Sam's very confused. He put sarcasm in a text chat. That's just very complicated. Okay, Ariana, what's the last thing you did? And if someone's sitting next to Ariana, if you can kind of give her a little bit of a nudge there. We're in the part of, and I can't go back because I haven't saved this yet. We're in the edit structure of the wall with the siding, and we're turning it into a stucco wall. Oh, yeah, that was last week. Can you, Ariana, will you email me and let me know what floor plan you're doing? Have you done the AutoCAD part of the wall yet? Okay. Can you send me an email as to which house plan are you in Architecture 1? Well, we did the CAD, we did AutoCAD, we did 3 classes ago. Okay, I'm gonna have to, okay, hang tight here. Let's see what we can figure out. Okay. All right, guys, you can watch me save the world from a distance. So they bet they're just seeing wind beneath my wings now. Let's see, Ariana. And I'm trying to find your email right here, Ariana. So I'm trying to save you. Ariana, you type your email into the chat room so I can find it quicker. Because now I've got to slow down to catch you up. When you guys get behind like this, I need to know prior to class. It does make things way, way easier to get you brought back around to where you need to be. And I'm changing your house. Whatever one you picked, you're getting a different one now. So sorry about that, but you're gonna get a new one. Okay, it's coming to your email in just a moment. You can open this up and work on this one. Okay. All right, I'm gonna keep going forward. You might have to watch this video when you get home to fix it, or I'm hoping to give some lab time if we get through this in time, so you have some time just to work. Okay. All right, I was saying I was gonna make this paint coating 1/8 of an inch. And is anyone else not without a house at this point? That's a bad question to ask. I'm probably gonna get like 70 emails here real quick. Benjamin, you don't have one either? Are you in Architecture 1 or Architecture 2? Okay. Benjamin, you type out your email for me, please. Because after this week, I won't be able to do this for you. Okay, as soon as I get Benjamin's email, we'll move forward here. Type it quickly, Ben. Oh, goodness. Okay. Okay, William, I think we talked about you need to move that into Revit and just finish it in Revit now. Ben, can you send me your email, please? Thank you. What house are you doing, William? Because I can, if you're in Architecture 1, I can just send you the project house from the course and get you right where you're at right now. William, go ahead and turn your mic on so you can do this a little more efficiently, because we're killing time and people are dying.
What did you say you needed?
Okay, are you in Architecture 1? I can send you the Project House start if you want, but I need your email in order to do that.
Yeah, I'm in Architecture 1.
Okay, type your email in the chat real quick and I'll send it to you. Thank you, sir. Okay, anyone else? This is your last call to be bailed out. Don't give me where get out jail free cards. This is it. Okay, there they come. You'll have to download it and then find it. It'll be in your downloads folders and you'll need to move it into your drives. Okay. All right. As I was saying, the reason I am putting an 1/8 an inch is when we put color onto stucco, it's done with another colored stucco. So we put on 2 coats of basically grout, like you would tile. The first coat's called a brown coat or a scratch coat, and is just there to give strength. The second coat has the color, and the 2 coats can be anywhere between an 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch thick. And so this just kind of accommodates that for us. All right. Now, if you notice, my preview has already changed over here. So my wall is now ready for stucco. And so all I have to do now is, and then leave the height at 20 feet so I can adjust it. I just hit OK. And, oh my goodness, why not? Let's see, row 4. What happened there? Got a little bit of an error. Oh, this can't be structure. I've got to change the structure in step 2. Remember I said it had to be a substrate. Structure always has to be between the core, and I got a little distracted. So I have to make this a substrate so that it can be there. And then I can go and hit OK. So if you change that structure to a substrate, then you can save it. Okay, sorry about that. I got distracted with all the emails. Okay, now once I hit OK again, this is now a new wall. It's now part of my template file, and I can use this to draw my wall. So I'm just going to show you what that's going to look like. If I draw a wall, it's going to look like that. So I'm going to do a couple of walls here as we work. Now, commercial, if you're doing stucco on concrete, change the 5.5 structure to concrete and make it 8 inches. And that will fix this. For the CMU walls in the Alt project, if you're doing the Alt warehouse, if you're doing the PrintTech project, they're 5.5 inch concrete. So the size will stay the same. The material will change. If you're doing the hotel or the bank, those are both wood studs 2x6 with stucco and brick. The bank is brick and the hotel is stucco. Okay, so that kind of is where they're all kind of floating at. So the guy gives me a stucco wall. Let's change now and go find the wood exterior wood on brick. And let's bring that one in and go ahead and draw an example of that wall. So you have what that's going to look like. And most likely, you're not seeing this amount of detail. Is that true? You probably don't see all these lines. And if that's true, put an emoticon on there somewhere. Make it weird. So if you're not seeing this amount of detail, then we need to get you there, right? And that's our next step. So I'm going to do a little scrunch here because I don't want to mess up my zoom feature right now. So I'm going to scrunch down my plan. And just for a moment here, you're going to see my laptop, but that's okay for what we're doing. Try and get that to move. All right. And so I can see the bottom of my Revit program, and that didn't work very well. One of the things I do not like about the new Windows operating system is it automatically sizes your windows for you, and I really don't like that. All right, all of you, the rich and the poor, the young and the free, the bond and the bold, whatever. If you go down to your bottom left-hand corner of your drawing area, you then see where it says 1/4 inch equals a foot for your drawing scale. And then there's going to probably be a box that looks blank white and a cube. Those two are your view levels that we then work at. So what we're going to do is adjust those. So in the first, the white box, that detail level, if you change that from coarse to medium, you should start seeing lines. And if you go down to fine, you'll see even more of those lines show up. So I can see all that detail. Now, the other thing that's going to bother you is if you're in the view tab, there's a thick line and a thin line. And that's in the view tab. So go across this top, find view. Over on the left-hand side, there'll be thin lines. That's a toggle, meaning you can turn that off and on. Notice if I have the thick profile line, I don't get all the detail I need. But if I have the thin lines, I can see all the gypsum board layers, the sheathing layers. I can see all the components of my wall. So I get a little bit more detail to it. Okay. And hopefully that helps a little bit. And see if we've got any more questions popping in there. Okay. So your choice on which level of this you see. I can tell you coarse is not the way to go because you won't get the detail you need to make your modifications. So I will usually be in medium or fine. I want to talk about the cube next to it real quick. The cube next to it is a 3D cube, which means it's more for 3D viewing. But let's just pop that open and look at it. So there's wireframe, hidden lines, shaded, consistent colors, and realistic. You can invoke shading onto your plan so you can see color. That might help you see things a little easier to know the difference between brick and wood and air being white. So that is on the cube and it's under shaded. If you go a little more and go consistent colors, it's going to take your structure and make all the structures the same color. To make all your substrates the same color, all your finishes the same color. It's just another way of working for what you need to make it easier for you. The last one is realistic. This is not a good one to work in. One is it takes a lot of RAM and it will slow your drawing process down a lot. Mine's already starting to bog down now with Zoom Running. But if I go here, then it imposes pictures of wood grain and brick on those elements. But it will slow your computer way, 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 way down. So typically in 2D view, I'll usually will stay on the hidden line mode. It just takes up less RAM, okay? But that's so if you guys run across those, you don't get lost. All right, we're gonna draw one more wall and then we're gonna start your house. The next one I'm gonna do is the wood siding on wood stud. And I'm just gonna drag that one right across the same length. Just a little sample there. So you can see the differences in though. So we have stucco, brick, and siding. Those are our three main residential materials. Commercial, you're probably gonna be brick or stucco. You have your walls now. You can change those and edit those out. If you need help editing them, we can do that Friday, or we can do that really anytime. You can change your walls anytime you want now, okay? Now, what you have to do as a student, decide which of these walls you're going to use for your house. Once you make that decision, make sure that's the wall you have selected in your properties box. We're going to start drawing your house. I'll give you a minute to make a decision. It's a big decision. Again, you can change your mind anytime you want. It's not a problem. Okay, that's the nice thing about Revit is we can go in and change the design. So once you do one house, you can have 4 houses. You just change out the materials. Okay, any questions before we get going here? Okay, not seeing any chatting going on. Well, there's probably chatting going on, but here we go. I'm gonna zoom out to where I can see my walls. The first walls I'm going to do are going to be my perimeter walls, my exterior walls. And I'm going to do only around the house. I'm not going to do the garage at all. Okay. So I'm going to turn off my thin lines because it's a little hard to see everything that's going on there. When I'm drawing my wall, I need to do a couple of setting changes real quick. So go architecture and wall, and you'll find that there's modify and place a wall. Then we have height, and right now our height is locked to go from the first floor to the second floor. Okay, now that's only 9 feet. We can adjust that height later when we talk about the elevations of the building. But right now that gives you an 8-foot ceiling, which is a standard residential ceiling height. It's kind of becoming a little bit less standard, but that's okay. I want you to move across to line location or location line. And right now yours probably says wall center. That's usually the default. That's to make it really, really hard for you to draw your wall precisely and to get exactly what you want. Okay. So what I want you to do is change that to finish face. Let's do finish face in exterior. Yeah. Okay, finish face exterior. I think that's what I want. I'm second guessing myself a little bit because I got a little off my notes, but that's okay. So finish face exterior means that if I pick this outside corner of my house, and you can pick any place to start you want, okay? But you do have to be aware of what's happening when you do that. So I'm going to zoom way up on this and make my screen just a tad bit larger. I'm going to start on this endpoint. Notice you have the exact same object snap that we used in AutoCAD. It's a square, that means we've got the endpoint. If I grab that corner, there's my wall. I can see the detail, and I'm looking at what's happening there. So I'm going to pause for a minute here, and we're going to talk about what we've done. If I'm drawing by the exterior, then my rooms become smaller. They become much, much smaller. I'm taking out almost 5 inches off of each wall if I draw this way, because my drawing is going off of the exterior. Okay, so I'm going to put that wall here so you can see it. So there is my brick sitting on my wall, and we designed our house based off interior sizes. So I'd have to move this all over. That's a lot of work. Okay, so I'm going to go through now and change the setting to finish face interior, and I'm going to pick up at that same point on the interior, and I'm going to try and grab it here if I can follow that line down, if I'm stable and not jerky. So I'm going to grab that line. I'll just pick it up right there. And now when I'm tracing the inside of my wall, let's get really close. See this little white gap right here? That's my gypsum board. And so now I have the exact distance of inside my wall, and I notice that because I'm using brick, I'm a lot thicker. If you use siding, this is going to be just about the right size. If you're using stucco, it's going to be a little bit larger as well. So we decided it based off of a generic wall of a 2x6. And now we want to make sure we draw it correctly. So I wanted you to see the difference between finished face exterior and finished face interior for an exterior wall. So you need to be able to be aware of that, because you're going to make some mistakes. And so I'm going to go ahead and modify these to the modify tool, select each wall, and then delete them out. So I can go back into my wall again and draw them correctly. So I'm going to grab that endpoint and then draw off my interior face, finish face. But I want to show you one other thing before we get going, because you're going to do this very, very quickly. If I change directions, instead of drawing counterclockwise, and I go clockwise, so I'm going to the right, now my entire wall is inside my space. Also, not what I want, but I'm on the right edge. I'm on the edge of the line I want. if I press my space bar, I'll flip the wall. So everybody try and flip a wall using your space bar. So whatever direction you go, you can flip the wall with the space bar and just keep going. But you need to pay attention to what the interior is versus the exterior. Okay, so I'm just gonna go this direction since I'm there now. And now it's gonna go really fast. I'm just gonna go over and I'm just start picking endpoints. Go ahead and do the entire perimeter of your house and pay attention to where your lines are. You want to end and everything lines up nice and pretty like. And if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. We're gonna come back and do a lot of fixing. So just work your way all around the perimeter of your house, just as efficiently as you can. I'm skipping the garage intentionally because I'm going to do something different there. Coming across. And if you've got a smaller house, you should be almost done if you chose the house wisely. If you're doing some giant mansion in the sky, you're going to have a little bit of work to do. And I'm going to make a big mistake here intentionally for you so you can see how to fix it. Then come back. I notice I'm not right, so I'm going to hit that end point. Now I got a really crooked wall. And then I bring it back down home. And now I've got my walls are all where they're supposed to be. I'm going to do a little quick change here, get more detail onto it so I can see things. Okay, take a minute and go ahead and do your perimeter walls. Ask your neighbor if you need help. That's always a good thing. You learn more from learning from your neighbor than you ever will from me. So that's a good thing. Okay, Victor, to put your AutoCAD into Revit, here's the steps for that while they're doing their walls. You then come across the top to the word insert. Then you then go ahead and select import CAD right here. That's going to bring up a dialog box where you can search and find your plan. You would hit open and then you would place it into the drawing. It's just, that's all you have to do. Okay. That's for Victor. Okay. And don't worry about making mistakes. You want to be able to put those walls down as quickly as you can, and then come back and spend time fixing walls in just a minute. I got to find my clock so I don't lose time here. Okay. And again, if you have questions, again, it's a lot easier if you just type them in the chat room. And then if we need to, we'll pop in a mic. The mic on my computer does not have the feedback issue. So if you need to walk over to my desk, you can ask the question there. That'll be fine as well. So just whichever way you work. But if you have questions, we want to hear those so we don't get you too lost. Because we're going to have more and more lab time. The demos become shorter as we go. And so there's more lab time to get more things done. So just the perimeter of your walls. Don't worry too much about it. Just kick them in there wherever you can. And Rand, if you could just kind of walk around and see if they've got their perimeter walls in, so I kind of have an idea when to move forward. This is the part where I kind of limited. I haven't quite figured out how to do a remote walkthrough robot yet. I need to do that. I need to have a remote camera that just walks around the room staring at people. Very 1984-ish.
Once you ask one like what you should do.
Yeah, so it just should have beginning and end all closed. Okay, Victor, I'm gonna bring up those stucco wall settings again. So here's how I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna come right down here. This is the stucco wall. If I select that wall, then I can go to edit type and into here. There they are for you. So we got to finish with 1/8 inch. We've got polystyrene insulation that's 2 inches, And if you want to make that thicker or thinner, that's your choice. You can do that. And then the rest of it should stay pretty much the way it is. You do have to add that in. Okay. Good question, though. I don't mind helping. You guys kind of got shorted this week. You only get 1 day of class, the way the Labor Day holiday kicked in. So we'll get it all worked out. It's gonna be great. And Victor, if you'll let me know when you have those set. Again, if you need to add in the finish of the substrate, use insert button and use the move up and down to position it where it needs to be. To select a new layer, just pick the number and that highlights it. But if you let me know when you're done so we can move on, that'd be great. Cool. You're amazing, Victor. Don't let your mom tell you otherwise. Okay, how are we doing on the exterior walls? We good?
We're not really getting there.
There you go.
We're getting there slowly and surely. Okay. Now I threw some errors in here on purpose. There's 3 of them that I put in that we need to fix. And so let's see. Can you guys do your thumbs up when you're done? And then I can kind of get an idea of where we're at here. Okay, Ammon's ready.
They're still trying.
Good deal. Okay. Looks like a lot of you are leaning back, so we must be getting ready. All right, boys and girls. Thanks, Ariana. I will get your grade adjusted. Okay, let's talk about these errors that I threw in here. The first one actually happened down here, clear over here. And so I'll keep zooming in here. I'll notice there's a red line that's inside of where my walls are. My walls aren't lined up here. So you see this little line there, and then there's my wall. I want them to be what my plan was when I did them in AutoCAD. I want that to be exact. So I need to adjust that. And in order to adjust that, I need to have my settings correct. So to fix this, let's go into the Modify tab. So across the top, find Modify. Usually the very last one on the right, which is annoying because it's the one you use the most. And that's really true. It is the one you use the most. Oh, Sam, you've got that rounded wall, don't you? Oh, joy. Okay, I'm going to stop just a minute here. I need to show you how to do a rounded wall. And I don't have one on this, so I'm going to have to make one. Okay, this is for Sam. And if you guys, because you're kind of designing as we go, if you want to add an element that you see being done by another student, you're welcome to modify these plans to some degree so they're more yours. I'm totally cool with that. You just have to make sure it's what you want to do. So Sam, what material are you using for your wall so I can use the same one? Stucco. Sam, just do a thumbs up. Stucco, siding, or brick? Stucco?
I was using stone.
Stone, okay. So you're gonna use the brick wall for right now, okay? So I'm on my brick wall. If you come across in your draw, once you click that on, once you pick your first line, you should be, I gotta get my wall activated. Sorry, hang on, it's not active. Once you activate the wall, it jumps into the modify window, and over here is this draw area. Do you see that on your screen? So you click on architecture, click on wall, activate the wall tool. Come on, wall. No, it's not going to do it for me. Hang on. Okay, so once it gets active, it switches so you can see this right here in this area. Okay, so I'm kind of watching your eyes a little bit. So in those options, you have an option in here for a circle wall. See, this is the very end. Now you can float over that and kind of get an idea for it, but here's how that's going to work. You click on the circle and you pick a point and you drag it out the radius you need. So again, knowing if you're on the finish face, interior, exterior makes a difference here. So when I start this, I want to make sure I'm on interior on that wall. And I pick that point, then I drag out, and you kind of have to know where your center part is. You might have to do a little playing with that. One of the things you can do is drag diagonals through your space to find a center point. The other thing you can do, if that doesn't work for you, it's a little, I mean, you're gonna have to play with it a little bit. And so it might take you, you may not get it for a couple of weeks exactly how you want it, because it is a pretty particular tool. So if I switch out here and go back in and get that wall, the other one, not that far, the other one you can try is the center arc or the start end radius, and do it in an arc piece, because you don't have a full circle, you have a partial circle. So if I know a start point and an end point, then I can bend my wall to where it wants to be. And again, your finished face, interior, exterior will play effect on that. So you can bend a wall and create an arched wall. You can pick another point, and you can do some really weird earth domes with this stuff. It's kind of fun. Okay, so you can kind of, you have to play with it a little bit. Don't get too hung up on that just yet. If you get kind of close, we can make it work, okay? All right, good deal. That's a good question. I forgot you had that special house of yours. Okay, let's go here. All right, now, as I said, I've got this error. I'm in the Modify tab right now, and I need to line this wall up. It's a very little piece that I'm off. To do a screenshot, it's print screen. If you're doing print screenshots. When I'm in here, I have a tool called Align. And Align is what we use to fix even rounded walls. We'll make them match up with the wall you have below. So that's what I say, Sam, just get it close, and then we can use this tool to fix it. So the first thing I want to do is pick this red line where I want the wall to be. And then I'm going to try and get this other line. And I'm noticing it's not grabbing that line. So again, I need to find out why. It has one blue line. It's in the exact center of my wall. So it tells me, look up, buddy. And I find up here that I'm on wall center line. I need to change that to wall faces. Once I pick wall faces, I'm going to have to turn that command off and back on again to reinitialize it. But now when I hit the red line, and now I can pick the gypsum board line, and I can adjust my wall. And then do that again so you guys can see it. Maybe. Okay, so I'm going to get really close. So I click on the Align tool. I make sure I'm on wall faces. And you might have to redo the command again to get that to activate. I select the line where I want to go, and then the line that needs to go there. So pick your destination and then what's moving, and it will move it right into position. Okay, now that same tool is going to fix my other errors, of which there's a few. Up here, I missed the boat like a whole wall thickness here, and I need to be on this point. So again, I pick the red line of my AutoCAD file and the edge of the gypsum board, the wall face, and it lines it up. Well, that's easy. The lines are all straight. This one's crooked. Well, the nice thing is it will fix that as well. The AutoCAD line and then the edge of my gypsum board, and it will straighten that all up. So I have that all into place. Now the question is what if I don't have an AutoCAD line because I wasn't there and I've got my wall in this position? Okay. Revit gives us a tool called a model line. A model line will never, ever, ever print. Okay. They never print. They are found in the architectural tab. And they're right kind of in the middle. It says model line. When I turn that on, I can take and pick a line, and may I want that line just randomly. I'll just go random line. I can now make sure that line is straight. And so I have that line going through. This line is always on the lowest part of your level, and so it gets covered up. So notice it's underneath my wall. Well, I can use this align tool and that model line to fix a wall. And it will straighten it out for me too. And now we got another question. Let's do another wall. So I'm going to draw another wall here. And again, while I'm doing this, keep fixing yours. And I'm going to do a model line underneath that. And I'm going to do an arced model line. This is for you, Sam. Okay. So the model line I just drew would represent your AutoCAD file. Okay. And it might be almost a full circle. I'm not sure. I can't quite remember how much you drew on there. But if I have a straight wall and an arc, and I use my align tool, if I select the arc and then, oh, come on, you want to do it. Those two aren't going to work because it's straight, right? But Sam's trying to draw his wall. So I can't bend the property here. I have to use a radial wall. So I'm just going to move this for just a minute. And I'm then bring another wall in here. And so Sam has a wall he's trying to work out. So he puts in and he's got a radius to it, but it doesn't match the radius he wants. So a straight wall won't work. So don't do straight walls. The aligned wall, when I do a line, now I can bend that wall. Okay, so I'm going to do that again for you one more time. This radius is not what I want. So you want to draw it almost to what you want, okay? Then when I do the align, I pick my AutoCAD arc or circle or whatever you're using, and then the edge of the wall that I want to bend, and it's going to pull it into that radius. Okay, now that's not long enough, right? So if you go in with another model line and give it a destination, and this works for almost all your walls for everybody, you can do another align and tell the wall to lengthen to that point. And you can kind of work and build your wall that way. So hopefully that'll kind of help you build your rounded tower to the radius that you want without spending a lot of time figuring out the math. We don't want to spend time doing math if the software will do it for us. Okay, hopefully that helps for you. You can come back and watch this little video part, zoom to it, and you'll be fine. All right, that gives us our walls, and I think that fixed all my walls that I had issue with that I put in there. So I'm just gonna go and look real quick. Oh, there's one I missed. That was not intended. So I'm gonna fix that little piece there. Just go a quick zoom around your building. Make sure you're covering up the lines you want to cover, and everything's good. We'll give you just a minute to do that. Wow, this class goes fast. Very fast moving class. Gotta love it. Makes us all happy. Someday it's to make you all wealthy. Okay, here goes next. Okay, that gets our exterior walls. We need to do some interior walls. I'm hoping we can get to the garage walls as well today. That was the kind of the plan. My interior walls for both commercial and residential are 2x4s. The difference is in some cases, commercial buildings will use an aluminum stud, which has the same dimensions as the wood stud. You will also have a difference in your gypboard thickness. So Architecture 3 students, all of your gypsum board needs to be 5/8 inch thick, all of it, everywhere you put it. It's not a crucial thing to change in the model per se, but you want to go through and edit your walls so that all of the gypsum board is 5/8 inch thick. And if you don't do that now, we can fix that later. It's really quick and easy to do. But we're going to do our partition walls, and they're already set up for you in your template. So architecture, wall, scrolling down through. And in fact, commercial, yours are kind of set up for you as well. So I'll show you that for you. If we come down to the interior section, there are 3 basic interior walls for you. There's one that is just raw wood. There's no gypsum board on it at all. This is for if you want to show a 3D model of the framing of your building. So you could show where every stud is. That's a very long and tedious process, but it makes a pretty cool model. Then we have a 4.5 inch partition. This is for residential. So architecture 1 and 2, this is your interior wall. Architecture 3, this is yours. And notice it says 1 hour on it. That means this wall, because we've thickened the gypsum board thickness or the drywall thickness or the sheetrock thickness, it's going to take an hour to burn through that wall. Residentially, we've only got about 45 minutes. So we have a little bit less time to get out of the building, but we're dealing with fewer people. And the building code is set that it's to save the many and not the few. It's very cruel that way. If we burn a house down and we lose a family, society can go on. If we lose a 110-story building and lose 3,000 the most important brains in the world, then society is affected. And that's how the building code thinks. So we have to kind of keep that in mind. It's kind of cruel that way. So since I'm working on a house right now, I'm going to use the 4.5 inch partition. And a partition just means a wall that divides spaces. It does not have insulation in it. Okay, and we'll talk about that as we get going here. So what I want to do is I'm just going to start that. Again, I check my top. I do not want center line. It's really hard to work that. So I'm going to choose finish face. And you can choose either one here. It doesn't matter because it's the same on both sides of the wall. So I'm going to do finish face interior. What does matter is when you get to where you start putting paint on the surface and you're trying to figure which side it's on. It's a little annoying, but you can figure that out. I'm going to just grab a corner of the wall. And oh man, I missed it by a lot, actually. So I'm going to redo that one. And I should be saving my work frequently, but I'm not right now. I'm going to grab that endpoint and I'm on the wrong side of the wall. Hit your space bar, flip it over. Okay. Just flip your wall. Doesn't matter which line you grab. If you need to, space bar lets you flip that wall. And I'm just going to start dragging walls up to a point. And I'm just going to now keep going with those walls. I'm going to grab the next one. I want to do long length walls if I can. And as long as it can be continuous, that's what I'm going to do. And so now you're going to go through and trace off your interior walls. You need to know where your bathrooms are. So I have a bathroom here. So this wall is thicker. I'm not going to do that wall. I'm going to skip that. And I'm still skipping the walls for my garage. Still not going to do those. Okay, so right now I'm just doing walls that are dealing with my interior. And if I can find one and I can take it all the way through, space bar to flip them over if needed. And we're just going to do interior walls. So just keep drawing interior walls until you have them all done. Now, so you know, I'm going to leave this wall here as well. This is an opening. There's got some columns in it. I'm not sure what I want to do with that yet, so I'm going to leave that alone. But right now, I'm just going to do the walls as fast as I can. Make it nice and pretty. Long lengths of walls always work best. You get a feel for which way you're drawing helps. And just then pop those all out. Just as fast as your little fingers can get you there. I used to race students on these, and it's fun, but it's not needed. It was back when I was younger and tried to improve or impress people. Doesn't matter. You can take your time on them, get your walls in. If you didn't get them all drawn in AutoCAD, it's a little bit more work for you because you have to go down and measure everything, which can be a little annoying because we did that already. So lots of offsets and line lengths. And that's that part done. And then move to the next part of the house. And if you get it to where you get a run, just do the whole run. You know, it's practicing running your cursor, getting your walls in the right position. There's a mistake to fix for us later. I always put a mistake in so you can see how to fix those. Space that over. Oh, I'm going to leave that one wrong. Let me leave this one way wrong too. So there's some mistakes there to fix. Going up to the next in the master suite. And I'd take me a while to not call it a master suite anymore. So I apologize for that. I'm not quite set on the ensuite thinking yet, but I need to be. I just got on my wall. Grab your endpoints. Make sure you're drawing where you want to draw. It saves you edit time later. Again, your zoom button is on your mouse, that roller bar. Let you zoom in and out. So if you zoom out, you pull all the way out, you see the full plan on there. Ariana, I think you're asking if I can zoom out after you take a screenshot zoomed in. No, it's a still picture. It's like a Polaroid. So you have to, if you want to show the whole house, you have to zoom out before you take the screenshot. Okay, and that puts that up there. Again, I want my walls to be as long as I can make them. It's how they're going to build them anyway, and so it just saves a little bit of work if I just draw them that way. What they do is they build the wall laying on the floor, and then they tilt it up into position. And so if I think about it that way, it makes the drawing a little more realistic and a little bit more manageable because now you're understanding what the framer has to do. And I'm just gonna crank these out just as quick as we can. And I am missing a couple walls on this plan, I just noticed, but that's okay. We'll put them in as we need them. It's just a bathroom, nothing too major. Okay, so you're putting those walls in. Some of you'll have more walls than others. Some will have fewer walls. We've got about just about 45 minutes left. We might get the garage done today. That'd be really good if we can. And so just keep drawing. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. There'll be more time. We'll have quite a bit of lab time when I get back to fix things. So, so I'm hoping that happens sooner than later. But I am at the mercy of the district, so that's unfortunate. Okay. Let's keep going there for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and delete these extra walls that I demoed with while you guys are working. I like to keep my drawing clean. Even though I use model lines that will never print, I still like to clean them up and take them out. I'm just used to having a very clean drawing. It won't let me draw with my CAD draw. Okay, Sam, Is it not grabbing onto it, or is your CAD drawing moving around on you? Your AutoCAD drawing. It won't recognize endpoints. Okay, good to know. All right, let's take a look at a couple things we can do here. First thing is when you click on the part of your AutoCAD file, is it all one piece? Is your AutoCAD file? You can just shake your head because I can see you. Okay, is there a nailed down pin? Is it pinned down? Okay, good. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to your manage settings. Okay, so you then come across the top and go to manage. It's almost 3/4 of the way over. And when you get that opened up, there is an upside down U-shaped horseshoe magnet. Go ahead and click on that. Is everything selected there? Everything is selected. Okay, so now we've got to figure out why it's not grabbing, because it should be grabbing those. Okay, so let's go to the next process. Let's just go into architecture and do a model line. We're just do a simple line. So click on the model line and then see if you can get that endpoint to grab on part of your AutoCAD file. Just get it, basically you're training it to recognize those lines. Will it grab that at all? It's loading, okay. Won't grab it at all, okay. That is weird. Let's see. Let me think what else that can be in there. It's a little tricky where I can't see all your settings. I'm just trying to see if there's some way to fake that out. For some reason, it's treating your layers like they don't exist, like they don't really belong there. Are you on fine on your detail level? It is on fine, okay. Shooting down, it's like shooting fish in a big bucket and missing every time. Okay, we're gonna try something that's gonna be a little bit of work later on for us. You ready, Sam? This is a tricky one. Go ahead and select your AutoCAD file so it selects the whole thing. When you do that, it's gonna jump you into the Modify tab, and there's one that says Explode. Go ahead and hit the Explode button. So you have, and I'm not done do mine because I just exploded it. So you select it once, you see the pin, then you're in the Modify tab, and there's Explode. Okay, try that. Then go back to Architecture and the model line and see if that will grab it now. Okay, we're gonna undo that Explode because it's a real mess if we don't. So undo it, make sure it's back to one item, just Control Z, should fix that. Okay, now it's gonna get now we're getting really tricky. This is where I wish I was sitting right there that I could do this real quick. Go back into Manage. And which one's gonna be the best one here? Click on the additional settings. And let's see. Oh, that's not gonna do it either. I'm troubleshooting and it's hard without seeing your file. Let's try one other thing. Let me just guesstimating. It's not be that either. Boy, this is tricky. I'm not sure what else to fix on that. Are you able to kind of get close to the lines? Will it do will it align to them if you do the align command? Do you know what I mean? So if I draw a wall and I can't get to the wall, but I get kind of close like that, so I'm not even close to it. Can I do the align and tell it to go to that point? Can you do it that way? Okay. So here's the way I can fix that for you is before we leave today, send me a copy of your file, and so I can see what's going on there. Then I can better tell you how to fix it. Okay. No, we are not adding doors yet. We got to get all the rooms in. So no doors. Doors are coming. All right, I need to go fix that wall that I messed up here. Again, I'm just going to use that align tool. Select the AutoCAD file and the gypsum board outside finish layer to put things in the right spot. And just to clean it up real quick so everything's nice. I need to create my plumbing walls, and I have two of them. One of them is still showing on the screen. The other one has not been drawn yet. And so that's why I'm saying I missed some walls. And I'm over here in the ensuite, the master bathroom area, there's a water closet or a toilet closet. Is it that bad, Sam? Is it really that bad that you have to fly around like Napoleon Dynamite? Okay. So what I need to do is I'm going to put in a toilet closet here real quick. And if you're still working, go ahead. You can kind of just keep an eye on things a little bit. I know you're frustrated. I'll get your file fixed for you and send it to you so you can have that. Okay. It happens, and I'm sorry I'm not there. I could probably fix it in 2 seconds. I just can't see your line settings. Okay. And I can maybe do it if we did a share screen. I'm not sure if we can do that with Revit. We'll have to see if we can do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a line, and I'm just going to take my basic partition wall, and I need for a water closet, I need 3 feet. So I'm just going to come in and drag a line in. I'm not going to worry about how far I go just yet because I'll do that later with you. And so I just put a wall in, and I need the wall from inside to inside to be at least 30 inches, preferably 36. We talked about that. So to figure out that distance, and this will help some of you get your walls put back where you need them to be as well, rather than try and and measure them all and draw a wall from one point, put in the right value of 448 inches and type that all in. That takes a while. If you go to your modify window, your little button here that modifies on the fly, if I select this wall, there's a temporary dimension that's here, and it's giving me that value. So if I go ahead and just click in that box, I can tell it I want 3 feet and enter, and it will shift that wall for me. So it puts it where it's supposed to be. Okay, now here's the other thing, and some of you won't have to do this, but I want you to be aware of it. This portion of the wall, and let me bring up my tool here. This part of the wall right here is a plumbing wall. So this is a 2x6. Over here is a 2x4. It's the same wall. I need to change part of it. And so I've got to modify that somehow in order to do that. And Sam, do you have Revit at home? Okay. So let me erase that out because it bugs me. And the close down. So I need to do a little surgery to my walls. Okay. So I'm going to go into my modify tab. And when I get up here about in the middle, there's these 2 little guys. They're really small right next to the thumbtack, the pin button. One says split the element. The other one is split the element with a gap. I rarely use the split the element with a gap. It's complicated because I forget where my gap is. And when you get it down, it works really, really well. But I get click happy, and so I click too many times. So I use this guy right here, split element, and it's the hotkey is SL. When I click on it, my cursor turns to an X-Acto knife, which is really cool. I like X-Acto knives. I've cut myself with them a lot. I'm going to bring that little scalpel X-Acto knife, and there's a little black line that shows you where your cut is going to be. But I want to cut it right there at that corner. So I'm going to cut it. So now when I do my selection, that's one wall by itself. It's now been cut. And now I can create my partition wall. Kind of fun. It's kind of fun to slice a wall. And I'm going to start my work over here by putting in my 2x6 partition wall for my plumbing. Remember, I had to have a 2x6 behind my water closets. So architecture wall. I'm going to switch it from the basic partition to my, where's it at? It would be a 6.5 inch partition. Again, commercial, you can use the 1 hour, and residential uses the not 1 hour, okay? So it's a 6.5 inch wall because it's 5.5 with a 1/2 inch on each side. That's where the 6.5 comes from. And then just bring this down, and that's a pretty easy draw the wall in, and everybody's happy and life's good. Okay, yay, that was easy. So there's gonna be a water closet here and a water closet here, and they're just gonna be all good. I could change out this wall back to 2x4 if I wanted more room in this closet, and I might, but that gets the wall in just really quick and easy. Over here, however, I've got this little guy over here. Well, I don't want to do an erase and a redraw. That's extra work. Extra work takes more time. More time means I'm not making as much money. If I'm not making as much money, I get cranky. I want to make a lot of money. So here's how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to go back into my Modify tab. I'm going to find this little paintbrush, and the hotkey is MA. It's for Match Properties. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to get a little paintbrush on my cursor. And the paintbrush is white, which means it's empty. I'm going to select the wall that I just drew. That's my 2x6 wet wall. If I select that, now my paintbrush is black. It means I've taken the DNA of this wall. I'm going to bring it over and stick it into this wall. So now this wall is thicker, but it's going the wrong way. Okay. So I'm going to escape out of the Match Properties. I'm going to select this wall, and I need to get out of Properties. Select this wall. There's an arrow there. I'm just going to flip it over. Oh, now it's way out of whack, but it's an easier fix this way than this way. So you see that red line goes underneath? It's hard to match it with the align when it's underneath. If I flip it over, then use the align tool, I can align that where it's supposed to be. Oh, that was bad. It joined there. So that wasn't good. I've got to break this up a little bit. Okay, so if they're still beside each other and that happens to you, when you flip on a wall and you flip it, and then you go to align it, and you do all the things you're supposed to do, and it moves the other wall, they're locked together, and they're not supposed to be. So I'm going to do a Control-Z to undo. And then what I'm going to do is I've got to break this union. It's kind of like they're meshed together. Select on the Modify arrow. Select the wall that's a problem. And when I do that, there's these little blue dots. They're like grips. Remember grips in AutoCAD? If I grab that grip, I can slide that over and break that connection. So now there's a gap. Okay. Now when I do the align, it's going to affect that one piece instead of the whole wall. Then I can do a second align and put the gap back in. So it goes really kind of quick to get there. Let's make sure I'm not missing anybody. So now I have my plumbing walls in, and I need to do, how much time we got? We got 35 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna give you a minute to check your plumbing walls, and then we're gonna do the garage. We've got interior walls and exterior walls to do in the garage. Okay, while you guys are finished, I'm gonna talk for a minute. The walls that are between the garage and the house are called separation walls. They're very special walls in that we have to put different gypsum board on them than anywhere else in the house. We have to treat them like a commercial wall and use 5/8 gyp board on them. That would include if you have a room over the garage, the ceiling of the garage also has to have 5/8 gypsum board. Just in the event that we have a fire in the garage and there's a bedroom over it, which is typically the case, we don't want anybody to lose their life if they don't have to, okay? We want to save people if we can. So we need to create what's called a separation wall. And the separation wall is only used in the garage. Now, some building codes require that you put around a stairway. You also need to put 5/8 inch gypboard on the stairway. What we will do with the stairs when we do the walls there, we're going to put 2 layers of 1/2 inch. So it's going to be a little different situation, and we won't do those walls until we do our stairs. We want the stairs to be the very last thing in the house that ever burns. So we put an extra layer of safety there. Okay, so we're going to create another wall. So if you'll go now, and I know you're not done yet, and I will give you the first of class. So you guys will not be, oh man, is it another Tuesday, Thursday for you guys again? Is that right? Okay, so next Tuesday when I see you again, we're going to start with the first hour as just drawing, just lab, okay? So remind me that that's what's going on. And then we'll go into doors for the second hour. It's doors and windows, okay? So that's the plan for the next time you guys are with me, okay? All right, so we're gonna do architecture wall. And in my walls, go ahead and find that interior 2x6 partition. Okay, that's where we're gonna start. You actually could use the 3/4, and the difference here is the 3/4, the 1 hour, has 5/8 chipboard on each side of the wall. And that might be a quicker fix for us today to do it that way. So let's do that. Let's just take that 3/4 wall, that's the commercial wall, and we're gonna use it for our residential. And I want you to just come up to the side of your house. I lost my wall. And I want you to just draw a little teeny tiny bit of wall there. Just draw a wall that is that 6 3/4 partition 1 hour wall. Just a little segment of it. Okay. Now we're gonna leave that sitting there for just a minute. And you guys can go, what the freak? I want you to now finish the exterior walls of your garage with the same wall that you did your perimeter of your house with. So whatever you drew your house with, finish out the garage. So in my case, I used the brick. So I'm going to switch to my exterior wall. And it's the brick on 2x6. I'm going to go off of the finished face interior. And I'm just going to flip that wall as needed. You know how to do that now. Space bar. I'm just going to trace off the walls that I have not done for that garage. And I know some of you pick plans without a garage. That's fine. If you decide to add a garage later, you are welcome to do that. Okay, so that finishes my perimeter. But if you notice, my inside walls have brick. And that's a bad thing. I don't want brick inside. That's really expensive, first of all. I'm a fan of putting drywall and finishing the garage so it's a finished space and not raw wood, if you can afford to do that. But now I've got this little piece of a wall over here on the side. I'm going to go into Modify tab, use the Match Properties, select that little wall piece, and change your interior walls to the correct wall type. Just that quick. Just and then you might have to go in and use your Align tool to get them in the right spot so everything's flush. Notice your walls should all be nice and flush, and this wall is a little thicker because of the gypsum board, but we're gonna be okay with that because that's the code requirement. So that needs to be like that because now I'm outside the building, so this gap can happen there. Okay, so use that inch half. That's your walls between your house. Finish off your garage. The rest of the time is yours. Draw as fast and as furious as you can. Finish as many of those walls as you can get done today. That'd be a good thing.